Hello, this is Charlene Campbell with Safe Haven Emergency Villages, and I'm here to show you part 2 of the Birth Family Cloth Kit. I'm really excited to have with me Jennifer and Faylene, my colleagues with our circles, who are here to help us show you these important items. And I would like to introduce Jennifer to start. She's one of our new members in our circle.
Hi. So I am here. I was led to meet Charlene and Faye, and just really excited to be here, and I guess mostly work with all the moms in this area and work with the educational principles that we can all learn about our bodies and about bringing these beautiful spirits into the world, and doing all that in a natural way. I feel like a way that God the Father intended from the very beginning, and that has always been a part of the earth, natural childbirth, except for in this day. It's been actually, when you take the whole scheme of the world and the timeline, we've had such a short amount of time where there's been so much intervention, and so it's really exciting to be here and to work with you guys.
We're happy you're here, Jennifer.
So very happy to have Jennifer here with us today, and I'm happy to be able to help Char show you guys the Birth and Family Cloth Kit. So my hair does look different today, thanks guys. I took out my braids from the Renaissance Fair, and so I'm
really
rocking
pretty.
a new do. So Char, would you like to get straight into the kit from here? So
Yeah.
In part 1, Charlene showed you her bucket with the Gamma Seal lids. They're very convenient. They can seal on. And we'll go over the list. How would you like to do that, Charlene? Would
I
you
thought
like me
we
to
all
read
came
it?
over here,
Okay.
and I think we'll just start with so everything's kind of laid out on the bed, and I thought we'll just have you start, Faye, and then maybe you'll start with certain items, and then you can talk about certain items too. And you don't have to be in the row that they come in on the list, because we know we've got everything here.
Yes.
And just talk about the things you feel guided to talk about.
Okay, I'm going to talk a bit about the family cloth. Then we're going to go ahead and start with that, the importance of being able to have cloth items instead of just our disposables. So in the kit here, we have the flannel, which would be used like your toilet paper to be able to wash. And being able to have a spray bottle of vinegar can really help with that, and a little bit of the soap.
So what do you do with the vinegar?
So the vinegar can be used to help keep the smell down for our menstrual pads. So when you use them, you would normally put them straight into a bag of water or something. You'd have some vinegar that you'd be spraying things down with, and maybe a little bit of soap with those. Now, these particular pads fold out.
Those are 12 by 12s.
They're 12 by 12s,
Double
and
ply.
they make it very convenient for the washing and the drying, because they do fold out. The ones that we often use at home right now don't fold out like that, but we're able to put them through the washer and the dryer, which is something that we may not be able to do. And the same thing with diapers, when we're using diapering for our babies, to have the ones that can fold out instead of the pre-folds can be really nice for emergency situations, though both are good. And having the peri bottles for cleaning yourself, and then the cloth for wiping yourself.
Now, can I just say something about the cloth, because you can pull the whole cart towards the bed. I think what's really helpful to understand is when you're using these, now these are 5x5 squares, double ply flannel. You can use t-shirt fabric or other cotton natural fabrics. I think flannel or t-shirt are the best. But 8x8, 10x10, and 12x12 are options. I personally like the 8x8 myself. But just to know that usually if you've had a bowel movement and you really want to clean up properly, the best thing to do is to fill this up, put like 1 drop of the Bonner's natural liquid in there, and then you spray like that. Now, that will, usually you'll need 2 of these to do it, rather than just 1. And it will then be mostly all gone. The fecal matter will be mostly all gone, and then really, it's not so much like with toilet paper, you're wiping. With this, you're more like just patting the water off at that point, and maybe a little bit. And then you can put it in a bucket, like you said,
Right.
which is helpful too. Okay, so that's just why I wanted to throw that in.
Perfect. Okay. Would you like to take a second?
Well, I wanted to just make a comment about the sanitary pads, the menstrual pads. So, you know, they might seem kind of like a strange idea to use cloth, but I will say that I came upon this idea through inspiration a few years ago and discovered that actually most of the world uses cloth for menstruation. So actually we're the weird ones because we use the store-bought stuff. But anyways, so I thought, man, I really want to try this out, and so I actually bought a couple of kits. I just went on Amazon and bought some menstruation kits for my daughter and I, and we literally use them every day. Every day during menstruation, so every month. Since then, like we've never gone back because they're so comfortable and there's no issues with burning or anything
Or
running out, right?
Exactly.
Like, and you don't have to spend that money on it. You can have that money for something else, and we just hand wash every day when we take off, and we can usually get, even on a heavy day, we usually only have to use 1 pad for that day, and then we wash it out. But anyways, and then we just hang it to dry. We have the little clip hangers in the bathroom.
Yeah, those are fantastic. I love those clip hangers.
Yeah.
You can get the ones that are circular, and you can fit a lot of cloth on that.
Yeah.
And these little squares, I recommend that same thing. Is, if you're postpartum and you have a baby and you're really busy and you don't have time, or you're a busy mom, of course, then you can put them in a bucket with some vinegar or soda. But actually, it's really nice just to scrub them right there in the sink and give them a good rinse. And then you just clip them with your little...
and you have...
We have the paracord and the clothes pegs, but like she said, you can buy these really cute little clippy round things that you stick in your shower, and they're perfect for family cloth and pads, aren't they?
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
I've been using cloth for a long time now, and one of the things that I found that's really helped being a heavier bleeder is to be able to have a cup. So, and if you haven't seen the cups, you're going to want to look into those too, because we'll probably be adding those onto the kits when we have an inexpensive source for those.
Great. Okay, so now part of this kit also is to help. So the threefold sort of mission and purpose of this kit, as far as what it would respond to, is the entire family's needs: birth, menstruation, and bathroom needs. Those 3 sanitation places where you need to be more sanitary. Now this is kind of a fancy pad. If you just kind of swipe it, it'll stay on. This is kind of a fancy pad that I purchased that I absolutely love from line. Now anyone can go online and purchase this. It's not cheap. It's probably $50, but what you have is a permanent pad that will never ever fall apart. Really, these things will last forever, and they
So
can be washed
it would
in the
be
machine.
like a Chuck's pad.
Yeah,
It's
so
reusable and washable.
this would go underneath the mother when she has her baby. Okay. So, all right.
So, Cher, why don't you go ahead and keep showing us the birth items?
The birth items. So, okay.
From the kit.
There really isn't a lot of specific birth items in this pack. But okay, just a Gatorade of some kind of like electrolyte, good quality electrolyte, and a water bottle. We also carry snack bars in them, but I don't see any here today.
They're right there.
Oh, we do. Okay, so some kind of high protein, good quality snack bars for the mother. I think the gloves can be used interchangeably with different things, but definitely could be used as a birth response. So if you had to respond to a woman, we've kind of realized that those other gloves that are in the boxes that you pull out, I mean, we would go through so many of those at births that it's really more of a disposable item. So we're trying to transfer everything over to sustainable, reusable items so that in the times ahead we're not depending on other people or institutions for our family's needs. And so these gloves though, these kitchen gloves, my friend who was a midwife in Mexico taught me that this is what they used to use in Mexico. They would have a bucket full of either bleach water or Lysol water, because that's what they had for cleaners down there. And they would take the gloves and they would put them on at the beginning of the birth, and every time they'd just go in there. They'd rinse the gloves first, get all the debris off, and then just go into that water and just kind of get the gloves kind of covered in all that good disinfectant again and go back at it. So anyway, that's an idea for the gloves. And then of course the mother can use these if she needs to also. Now I include one Chuck's pad or Depends in this because that first little section of time when you are just after the birth, okay, there is a lot of blood, there's a lot of clots, and it's really messy. So you know, I include one of these just because then that's one thing you don't have to clean up after, and then she can go directly onto these pads. And then the placenta is another thing that you need something to put the placenta in, okay? We recommend highly, I just want to throw this plug in, that you do not cut the cord, okay? Do not cut the cord in a low resource setting. Do not cut the cord if you don't have highly sterilized equipment, and never cut the cord before like half an hour to an hour, depending on the situation, because the baby's still getting that blood. And it's a trauma to be separated from the mother, so we keep the mother and baby together all the time.
A third of the baby's blood
Is in the cord.
Yes.
Yeah.
It can be up to a half
it's a
of the
lot.
baby's blood supply
Yeah.
still in that cord. So of course we don't want to do a bloodletting on the baby before they've had a chance, because that causes long-term mental, low-grade mental issues like anemia causes mental challenges. Okay, so this bag is to put the placenta in, and then we've got diapers for the baby. So for after, we have one disposable diaper. Why do we have that? Do you have any ideas?
Go ahead.
I want you
Disposable.
to say.
Okay.
Oh,
Why
for
do
the
you think?
meconium.
Meconium.
Yes, the meconium.
Exactly. She's a lactation consultant, so she knows about meconium. I mean, that's one of the first poopies that the baby has,
yeah.
right?
Which would be equivalent idea why you have
To the pad.
for the mom.
Right.
Exactly.
Same
I mean,
one for the mom, one for the baby.
I'm not saying this is only one birth that you're going to do with that, right? But everything else, you don't necessarily have to have that again. But for that one birth, it might be really nice, right?
Yeah,
For that one
the
birth,
after.
for the after time, yeah. But it's not an absolute essential thing. I don't think it's just kind of a perk. And then I'll let Faye talk about the mother's aftercare and stuff,
So
or the baby.
we have the receiving blankets for immediately after the baby comes, and you have some underwear for the mother and some soap. We have those things in this bag, but we also have the safety pins for the baby, and we have 2 onesies, 2 nighties, a bunting bag, some small socks, and a baby hat as that first baby kit. And we have 6 washable diapers with their inserts in the kit.
And usually most of our kits actually have breast pads in them too, cloth breast pads that we make. This kit doesn't, but we have a lot of cloth breast pads. You can also use the squares, double them up.
Those would be good.
And then the other thing that we collect in our Safe Haven sewing center is any kind of wool sweaters that you don't want, even if there's holes in them or anything. We will wash them, shrink them, and then we make them into breast pads and diaper covers for the babies.
So another item we have in the kit is we have prenatal vitamins. And we have lots of washcloths and hand towels. Do you remember the number?
I think 2 hand towels and 2 face cloths.
Mm-hmm. Which are very handy during the birth and the aftercare too. So what are some other things we have? We have the toothbrush and the toothpaste.
Comfort measure, right?
And the rescue blanket.
We have a rescue blanket and a rain poncho for the emergency. And
do you want to talk about these?
Oh, that would be so fun. Why don't we have you demonstrate that and show us how to put a baby in since I did.
Before we do that, I just want to ask Jennifer. I know that a lot of the midwives in very many areas are starting to collect kits, emergency kits like this. And this is mainstream. This isn't like the preparedness people or anything doing it. This is just the mainstream women who are delivering the babies on the ground, who are realizing that things are unstable, and they're getting impressions to create these kits. And I just wanted Jennifer to share with us a little bit just about what her experience is with that.
Yeah, hopefully I don't get in trouble for saying this.
Just say what you feel prompted to say.
Yeah. Well, I was just down in Utah County training with midwives down there for childbirth education and doula certification. And my dear friend who has been a midwife she's been practicing for over 10 years. It's falling asleep. And she had told me that many, all the ones she knew in Utah County at least, were preparing for an emergency and preparing to birth, to help with birthing babies in the mountains. And so I didn't tell you guys this. I was going to share this, but they've all had either dreams or just kind of these visions of this that's going to happen. And 2 things really quick, but so as soon as COVID hit, so a year ago when COVID hit, guess what happened? Tons and tons of moms who were planning on hospital births,
switched.
All of a sudden switched.
Yeah.
And the numbers were astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
But she said, you know what, Jen? We were ready for it. We were able to take all the numbers and either assisted in the homes or the birth center. Mm-hmm. And so they were totally prepared for that. So based on this vision that all these midwives are having, some of them got together and said, you know what, we want to do a scenario like what it might be like. So let's go out in the boonies and let's put up a teepee and let's see if there's a mom out there that's willing to give it a go, right? To have a birth.
Wow.
So they did.
Wow.
And everything worked out beautifully. The entire thing was a great success. And they just took their birthing kits with them, right? Of what they would have in that kind of a scenario where they were having to, not be in the city, but in the mountains or whatever. And anyways, it was, I don't know if they filmed it or, I don't know. That would be cool to see that.
Well, it's just interesting to see that how mainstream this is becoming, and everywhere where the midwives are on the ground and they're seeing these things happening. Suddenly they've got like 15 people a month instead of 4, I mean, they're definitely, it's happening everywhere. It's happening here, it's happening in Seattle. I have midwives all over North America and all over the world that I'm friends with and I keep in touch with, so I hear about it. And so yeah, things are shifting, and my idea is that we take responsibility to store at least one of these kits, even if we're not childbearing, or even if we have no children that are going to be childbearing in the next 10 years, that we store one, but I recommend that we store two, one in our car and one in our house. And that way, even as a layperson, say we don't know how to help, but say there's a midwife down the street who shows up, or somebody like Jennifer, who's been a lactation consultant and trained in different postpartum doula work and everything, has more experience, can come and maybe utilize that kit, or even a midwife or someone else that has more experience than you.
Yeah, so also I learned one of the things just interesting is that in other countries, the doula, so the doulas, say like in Africa, okay, the doulas know enough about the entire gig. Yeah, they're the ones hiking in miles and miles for hours and hours, and often will make it there before the midwife, or maybe for whatever reason the midwife doesn't even show up.
Mm-hmm.
And so the doula does it all.
That's happening all over the place in different countries, in the third world countries, because it's more economical. It takes a lot to train a midwife fully.
Yeah.
Yet a doula you can train quite quickly.
Yeah. And
so they do that. Robin Lim trains doulas in Bali, same thing.
Right. So I don't know if you guys have talked about the sling idea. Have you guys mentioned much?
Not at all. Why don't you go ahead?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had 4 babies, and all of them were slung everywhere we went. You guys have probably seen, potentially, babies slung. But there's so many good benefits to the baby being right by your heart, right next to you, and hearing your heartbeat, so their heart can keep beating, and just the smell, everything, your voice, they're right here. And actually my husband was such a great sport about it too, so he would sling the babies also.
Yes.
And so just everywhere we went,
we
never
with their dad too.
We never had the car seats.
No, those things.
Never had the car seat carriers. So this is a really cool sling idea that I just barely learned from Charlene and Faye, and so it's great. So these are just 2 t-shirts that there's this one too.
We just made this
we
one.
just cut them.
So here we have t-shirts. You hold the bottom part, and I'll hold the top.
Oh.
And then we just
you just cut it under the arms, right?
Cut it. There you have your sling.
Here's your sling with the cut shirt.
And you can use it as the one, or you can do 2.
You can do 2. So I'll just demo here. Okay. So, and baby can even nurse in it.
That's so great that the baby can nurse too.
You can nurse the baby, or just have the baby in whatever scenario. Okay.
Now that one goes over the other shoulder.
I was just trying to think
and
about
this one's not even sewed; it's just cut.
Oh, just cut.
We just cut it with nothing else.
Cut it,
It's a little bit tighter.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You can do it like that if you want.
Okay, I'm just trying to think.
Yeah, because this one is a smaller t-shirt than the other one. So you
just like this.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
And there you go.
Sorry, I got confused about that for a second.
That's okay.
So yeah, there you go.
And then you can go hands-free too when you have both. Just from 2 t-shirts.
Nice and
so
snug.
We collect used t-shirts for this reason too.
Yeah. So such a good idea. Save all that money and just cut up some old t-shirts, right?
There we go.
An emergency situation, it's just what you need.
I think we've gone over everything.
Bottle of water is the only thing I can think.
Bottle of water.
Have a bottle of water in there.
And now, do we have anything else we want to say to people about this before we say goodbye?
We love you.
We love you. Please go out and just get some cloth. It's so easy. Now, who said they went out and bought? Oh, a friend of mine today I was talking to. She said right when people were going out and buying toilet paper, right like a year or so ago when COVID was really in the height and the stores were getting bought out from the toilet paper, she said she just went out and bought about 40 washcloths, face cloths, and she used that for her family cloth. Shit, it was just fine. So I think terry towel is really good too.
Yeah.
And old towels, you know, they could be stained or ripped or anything. You cut them up.
Yeah.
And those
Thin ones
make
are
great
the
cloth.
best. So, and just going to the thrift shops and
Yeah.
getting old t-shirts if you don't happen to have a ton of them. So I know my husband has a ton of t-shirts. But there's a lot of other things that you can get that would be perfect for your family cloth at the thrift shop. Just make sure that it's an all-natural fabric.
Yes. And all the best to you in acquiring your own birth kit. And I will again leave the list below so you can go ahead and gather your supplies, and bless you in your endeavors to prepare for the sanitation needs of your own family and of those you will be ministering to in a time to come. And God be with you until we meet again.
Thank you.